I have with me Cliff Erickson. He's actually the founder of a support group for mothers. He's a grandfather. I'm going to show you this support group real quick. Okay, you may have seen this on Facebook. And it's actually called the Sullivan County, New York Family Court Support Group for Mothers. Okay, now I know this family very, very well. I've been advocating for them for a number of years, and we have a back feed. So I'm going to, Cliff, every once in a while, you're not going to hear me because of the back feed, so I have to mute myself. But I'm going to have you explain why you started the support group and get into some of the things that has been happening. So this is Cliff Erickson. Say hello. You're on live.
How you doing, everybody? My name is Cliff Erickson. I supported a Sullivan County's group for mothers that had been victimized by family court, domestic violence. We have a long story. We had 3 days of rain. The rivers were swollen. They're near flood stage. There was ice and debris. There was ice and debris coming down river. There was actually ice jams in the river where they were blocked. And my grandson's father took my grandson, who was 3 years old at the time, waded out into the middle of the river, of the Willow Weemock River in Livingston Manor, and held my grandson out in front of him and told my daughter on the side of the river, if you want your son, you better come out here and get him. My daughter went out there and rescued her son and fled to my home. And she was forced to go through CPS. She was also denied her first order protection by Judge McGuire. And during the time that she waited for trial, she was told by CPS, an investigator, in writing, to document her son every single time that the child went to his father's home and came back for their own protection, to make sure that the child was safe and there was no bruises or nothing like that. And she did exactly what she was told. During this time, she documented a very serious burn to the side of my grandson's face, and on one visit. And then on another visit, she documented very serious burns to the top of his hands, right on the top here. It was very serious. And those pictures were used against her. The father's attorney claimed that it was child abuse, that this child was aware that his picture was being taken. So in turn, they gave custody to the men that tried to drown my grandson without a single question asked in this child's own defense.
I'm sorry, I know that I keep muting and unmuting. So I just want to clarify this. There's all this abuse, and I know this story very well, but there's all this abuse to your grandson. And instead of them acknowledging all the physical abuse to the grandson and emotional abuse, Cliff, what they go ahead and they say it's child abuse, taking pictures of abuse. And I've seen this repeatedly. And I just want to remind everybody, this is the state of New York. This particular court, and there's a whole host of the same stories there, is Sullivan County. So go ahead, Cliff.
Yeah, she actually documented burns to my grandson's face and hands. And she even had text of my grandson's father admitting that it happened in his care. But yet, the opposing attorney, my grandson's father's attorney, has so much power with the court that whatever she says goes without question. And I mean without question. Even though we had text of this man admitting that the burns happened in his care, I myself was blamed for the burns.
Wow.
And we had testified of this man kicking a Jack Russell Terrier 20 feet in the air in front of this child. There was a lot of violence that was documented. The judge himself even said that this man was unstable and did not use sound judgment when bringing his child out in the middle of the river.
Right.
But yet, he still gave the child to the man that did this.
Mm-hmm.
There was not one question asked by the guardian ad litem. There was not one question asked by the judge himself.
Mm-hmm.
This is how the deal went down.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really shady too. My daughter's attorney, there was not one objection in a 7-hour trial. Not one single objection. I bought the transcripts.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually discredited my daughter because there was a picture of a footprint bruise in the back of my grandson's back. And he discredited my daughter with a Post-it sticker taped to the picture. It was like right out of a movie, the way they did this. In the long run, what they did was the judge had told my daughter that he was going to take custody away from her and give it to the father. He then told her attorney to take her into one of those little back rooms off the courtroom and talk to his client. We have 3 witnesses that were there when her attorney used extortion against her, told her that the judge was very mad at her. She'll never see her child again if she did not consent. And then he said that if she did not consent, that he was going to walk out and leave her there alone in the courtroom.
Mm-hmm. And Cliff, Cliff, if I could, oh, I'm sorry, were you trying? If I could ask you, is this the same one that I think like a little less than a year ago we made sure we got his door shut on him? Is that same one?
Say again?
There is one that I worked with Jess over that we made sure he got his door shut on him. His door, he no longer practices law.
That was another attorney.
Okay.
I don't want to mention his name, but this guy actually made the New York Times with his crimes against women.
Yep.
The court, knowing my daughter was a sex assault victim,
mm-hmm.
gave my daughter an attorney that is a sex offender who
mm-hmm.
made the New York Times.
That's right.
This guy was actually caught drugging women
yep.
With Valium in a bar. Judge Janine Pirro, the lady that world famous judge now you see on TV, she was district attorney in Valhalla, New York at the time.
She did a great job.
And she made a public statement warning women to watch your drinks because you never know who's going to be there and put something in your drink.
Mm-hmm.
This man also was caught with webcams in his firm bathroom.
Yes, and
he was perving on his clients. And he got caught twice with that.
Mm-hmm.
When my grandson was molested by 2 older children in my grandson's father's care, this man said that he called it horseplay.
Mm-hmm. It's because he's sick.
And I can't get over that.
He's sick in the head. My
grandson was taught how to perform oral sex, and this guy called it horseplay.
He's a sick person.
That whole situation was really messed up because when my grandson made the report himself at the police station in Liberty, he had to wait 4 hours for an investigator to come interrogate him, my grandson.
Mm-hmm.
He was 5 years old. He waited 4 hours for someone to speak to him. By the time this lady came, all he wanted to do was leave.
Mm-hmm.
But he did say enough that there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, well,
there's a lot going on, and none of it's good.
But we did get rid of that lawyer because that one particular lawyer, that one particular lawyer, though, we did get his door shut, Jessica and I, rather. Thinking of Jen.
I'm sorry?
We got his door shut. We got that one particular lawyer. I wrote him a nice letter. I also made a phone call to him. And his doors are closed. He no longer practices law. Are you aware of that?
No, that one there is still an attorney. I actually saw him in the courtroom the other day. But the thing what bothers me so much about this is during that time when my grandson waited 4 hours, my daughter had pleaded with my grandson's father to please come down to the police station, that he was needed. This guy absolutely refused to come down to the police station. and we actually got a letter from. We received a letter from the father's attorney to the judge. It was by accident. We were never supposed to get it. Telling the judge that whatever evidence my daughter has of her client with him trying to drown my grandson in the river is moot. Can you imagine having evidence of an attempted murder of a child being called moot?
Cliff, I see it I see it every day. I see this every day. And I just remembered I had the wrong particular person. This one was actually taken off of your daughter's case. He finally recused himself after we went after him.
Yes, he did recuse himself.
Okay,
Yeah, he told you to shut your pie hole. Remember that?
Well, he never talked to me. He never talked to me directly, but that's when I made the phone call to him, and then he got off the case after that. Yeah. I remember that one. Yes.
I have a letter.
I don't shut my pie hole. Matter of fact, my pie hole is actually helping a lot of people. So I think he realizes that now, though.
Well, the very interesting thing about that incident with my grandson at the police station, it took 4 hours for this lady to come down there and talk to my grandson to find out what happened while he was molested. And during this time, my daughter had asked the father to come down to the police station. But in this letter, she's telling this judge that she had told my grandson's father that he was not needed at the police station during this time, that he was not suspect. My question to that is, how can that possibly be? How can this attorney say that her client is not suspect if it took 4 hours for the child investigator to come down and interview my grandson?
Right.
They can't say anybody is suspect or not.
Right.
My grandson did disclose about a little bit of touching and stuff, but the clothes were on. But he did say something very interesting, that he did say that my father's attorney is my attorney too, and she asked me a lot of questions about mommy, Nana, and Pop.
Okay, which is actually
That's against the law.
It's against the law. It's extremely against the law. It's a completed
violation. We filed a grievance report about it with the New York State Bar Association, and
yeah,
this lady had said that since my grandson never mentioned her by name, that it didn't count.
Right.
There was no harm, no foul on her part. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is my grandson was 5 years old at the time, and he's not going to be able to say her that. He cannot pronounce her name.
Right.
But he did say, my father's attorney is my attorney too.
Right.
And for me, that's enough.
It's common sense, but they don't want to use common sense, and they certainly don't want to proceed to the side of caution. They may start doing the right thing, and this is why we have to force them to do the right thing. Or actually,
in total, my daughter has been denied 5 order protections by this judge, protecting her son.
And so has your grandson. He's been denied.
My grandson has been denied order protection. He went down to the police station, the sheriff's department in Monticello, New York, and he told them that my daddy told me if I tell anyone our secret that he'll hurt you, mommy, and I'll never see you again, and he'll hurt me too. And then he told his mother that daddy punches him. Mm-hmm. She went down to the police station, and my grandson told them pretty much the same exact thing. Mm-hmm. But he was afraid to say where his father punches him or touches him. We don't know for sure what's going on. There's a lot going on because he's 7 years old, and he refuses to go to the bathroom at his father's house.
Right. I know.
He holds his bowels for days and days and days until he comes home. And we know something's going on, but we don't know what.
Well,
we're afraid to say. It's a very scary thing.
Mm-hmm. And everyone here knows, and that's watching, we know exactly, we know what's going on, and this happens all the time. And Cliff, did you want to share with the viewing people what's happened to you and your health during all of this?
3 years ago, I went searching for an answer on why this happened to my family. Why this happened to this little boy right here. His name is Charles. Let me tell you something. being called Pop-Up is the best title I've ever had in my whole life. I love this boy more than anything in my whole life.
Yeah.
I was just for an answer 3 years ago on why it's happened to my family, and what I found out, I wish I never knew. It caused me to have a heart attack. Watching the injustice of my only child lose her only child because she went to Sullivan County for help. And this is what happens to a person that goes to Sullivan County for help for domestic violence. She did everything she was told to do to the letter. And just because the father had hired one of the best attorneys in the county, he was able to get away with many, many crimes against my grandson, against my family. And I mean, we were even stalked. We were having ice cream, and this man is sending pictures to my daughter's phone of us having ice cream. And that is a scary thing. We went to Liberty State Police, and they really didn't do much about it. It happens again, they'll confront them. And then the man is outside my daughter's job, waiting for her with his engine revving, and then he peels off. There's a lot of things going on. I know he's following us around, but that's besides the point. The point of the matter is that regardless how my daughter lost custody of her son, not one single question was asked in this child victim's behalf to the man that tried to kill him.
That's right.
And that is unacceptable.
Yeah. There's no question.
I will not accept it, and I will not stand for it any longer. I can never regain what Sullivan County took from me. With my heart attack, they killed a portion of my heart, and I'll never get that back. I will spend my last breath exposing what they did to my family. And until my grandson is safe and with his mother, I will fight, and I will not shut up.
We are with you 100%. I'm with you with that statement. As you know, I'm with you 1,000% on that one. Joyce, just to answer your question, he didn't say Suffolk County. He said Sullivan County, New York, although we know it happens everywhere. And Carmel, yes, I would like to get you interviewed, even if we maybe can squeeze one in tonight. She said it is clear now that the war is not between parents and spouses. It's the system. We demand the swamp draining of judges, attorneys, CPS, and all court administrators. And we agree with you. We agree with you.
After my daughter consented, after she was forced to consent, anyway, her attorney took her into the hallway in one of those little rooms and told her to consent. She did not consent, and she'll never see her child again.
Oh, my God.
After she consented, the judge told her that he never had any intention of taking her child away. I have the transcripts. I have all the proof that I need that my grandson's rights were exploited.
Oh, there's no question.
I have 3 witnesses that extortion was used against my daughter by her own attorney.
Yep.
It's going to stop.
Cliff, may I say that irregardless if he paid the most expensive attorney or had no attorney or a cheap attorney or a dumb attorney or a smart attorney or a good attorney or a bad, this judge is the one that needs to be held accountable for allowing this abuse to your family, to your grandson, and to your daughter. Okay, because...
Of course, yeah.
My
daughter tried to talk about terrorist threats. When my grandson... The last time my daughter was denied owner protection, she tried to show just cause of the terrorist threats made to her child. And the opposing attorney was allowed to dictate who her opponent was going to be. My daughter requested a certain attorney, and when my grandson's father's attorney heard the name that she wanted, she said, no way.
Because he was good.
Oh, yeah, he's very good. He's one of the best attorneys in the county.
Yeah.
And she was allowed to dictate who his attorney would be, and she ended up with a tax attorney.
Yeah, I remember that. They gave her a tax attorney. I couldn't believe it. A tax attorney.
In an attempted murder case. And let me tell you something. Attempted murder does not belong in family court.
Absolutely. We all applaud that one. Absolutely. And Cliff, let me say something. People think because they're given a public pretender in court that they can't choose their own. That is not true. You have the right to representation, and if you're given a public pretender, okay, because of financial reasons, you have the right to choose the public pretender that you use in the court. But see, that's another lie that they tell the American people, and they have snowed people for years. It's no different. When you retain a lawyer, they have to abide by the same rules a paid lawyer that's retained has to abide by. Zealous representation.
The judge asked my daughter, who do you want for an attorney? My daughter said, I want John Ferrara.
And they said, no way. Well,
the other attorney said, no way. How can they do that?
They cannot do that. That's another violation right there, because he has no right telling her what lawyer she can have.
If I had 5 minutes alone with this attorney in the courtroom, I could discredit every single claim they have against my daughter.
Of course, if they let people speak,
and they give my grandson back to his mother.
Now she does have him unsupervised in days, but he has custody, which is so crazy. She's
at the court today, and because my grandson, he's so constipated, it's extreme, that every morning he's late.
Aw.
And
I can't. I simply can't.
Yeah, I know. People might be thinking right now, but when a child is so constipated that he's bent over in pain and can't even stand up straight, you take the time out to give that boy the chance to go to the bathroom. You pull over, you go to the gas station, you do whatever you got to do for your child.
Right.
And if the child's late, then so be it. But it's what happened today. It's crazy. If my grandson gets sick while he's in his mother's care, he has to go to his father's mother for her to call a doctor. They took...
Are you guys listening to this? Can you hear what he just said? I already knew this before the interview. They went to court, and the judge ordered that from now on, when the child gets sick, she has to contact her abusive mother, okay, the hub abuser, to get the child to the doctor of their choice. Why? So that they can continue to hide what they're doing? And what judge in their right mind would ever do something like that, aside from everything else that they're doing? But it's sick, and this is why we decided to do this interview on such short notice. Go ahead, Cliff.
This man has done so much to my grandson. There's CPS reports where my grandson was grabbed around the neck.
Yeah, I remember.
And when my daughter took her son down to the doctors, this man showed up and hindered the doctor's appointment to where he could not be seen. The doctor noticed that there was fear in the room and told my daughter, pulled her aside and made a secret appointment for my grandson to be seen.
Thank God.
By then, the bruises were healed. So, he got away with that one too. I cannot take it no more. I cannot see my only daughter go through losing her only child for going to Sullivan County for help. Yeah. She went to them and reported an attempted murder and loses a child. I just cannot get over that.
Well, and this is what I try to explain to the viewing audience, in that what we're seeing happening in the state of New York is definitely a hatred and a vile attack against mothers and children that report abuse. And their remedy for reporting abuse is to abuse them further and allow them to continue to be abused. And, this is what I'm trying to do, is just kind of build the bridges between fathers and mothers. You're a man and you started a support group for mothers because you have seen the pattern of abuses we've seen in this state, in the tens of thousands of mothers that have immaculate backgrounds and all they've been doing is protecting their children, and they're not liars. And this is where Barry Goldstein comes in, because what he's teaching is 100% true. And of course, in other states, we see it happening, and we have seen throughout the course of time, fathers that never had a fighting chance to be a father to their children that were quite fine. So I personally understand the stress on both sides, but we try to tell the story in the truth, give you the true stories of what is happening, that we fight together collectively, because what these judges are doing in our nation is giving children to abusers, or any good families they're wreaking havoc on, both mother and father together, or they're attacking men, or they're attacking women. But we definitely see a pattern of abuse to mothers and children. There's no question about that. No question about that. Cliff, were you planning on going to the march? Are you guys planning on going?
I would love to go. I don't know if I'm really able to. My heart's not really doing good at all. I have other problems. I have stage 4 kidney disease, so I have a lot going on. Yeah. What needs to be addressed is that when a child's own words is not enough to save themselves from harm, something needs to be done. When my grandson went down to the police station and reported the threats this man made against his life and his mother's life, see, this is one of the things that is messed up, and it's got to change. When a crime is reported to the police are supposed to go out there and do the investigation themselves.
Right.
What they're doing now is they're relying on a third party. They're relying on CPS to do the initial investigation.
Right. And they're not trained, and they're not equipped, and they're not, and they're actually
not trained at all.
No.
And
they're
they
actually
have no intimidation.
Right.
So what happened was, when my grandson was molested and they went down there to speak to this man, all he had to do was not answer the door. And they went away.
Yeah.
They had to make an actual appointment to see my grandson's abuser.
Right.
Since when have you ever heard of CPS making an appointment to see somebody?
Well, actually, no. I hate to tell you this, but that's exactly what they do. When they know there's real crimes going on, they make appointments. So the people, I've said this before, you'll see my interviews. They'll spray the house, they'll take the drugs, they'll hide the drugs, they'll act like Mr. Nice Guy. This is what they do. CPS is not trained to help you in situations when your children are being abused. We don't call it child predator services for no reason. We call it out as what it is. They're trained to harm your children. CPS is not a protective service. They never have been. Maybe years ago. Okay. And for every one child that they actually might make it, oh, well, look, they helped that family. There's 1,000 kids that they purposely hurt to the point of death. I do not trust child predator services. And if you get a decent CPS worker in there, they will either be fired, quit, or become delusioned by the system and stay working there for their $10 an hour job. So
well, I'm tired of people passing the buck.
Please, me too.
When we reported the initial crime of my grandson in the river, my daughter was asked by the New York State Police in Liberty, is the child safe now? No. And she said, yes, my child is safe right now. I saved him.
Oh.
And they said, well, it's a civil matter now. If you want help, you need to go to get an order protection.
All right.
That's passing the buck.
That's what they do.
And my grandson was molested, and they contacted the CPS to do the initial investigation. Instead of them doing the investigation, they passed the buck. They dropped the ball.
Well, because I've been doing this, for how long, and your daughter is an advocate as well, and that I know all this too well, and I do want to encourage you that it's been hell. It's been hell. We have all walked through the pit of hell. We've walked through the hell of fire. No question about it. We've been face to face and eye to eye with Satan. No question about it. But we're still standing, and I can assure you and encourage you that there are people that no one will ever know their faces or what they're doing behind the scenes, but these people will not be getting away with this any longer. Just so you're aware of that. And I'm sorry that it's taken this long, but it takes a while to, I guess you can say Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
You know.
I have not mentioned my grandson's abuser's name. I'm not going to do that yet, but pretty soon Sullivan County will know who did this.
Well, I can tell you one thing, Cliff. They know his name, those that are investigating. They know the judge's name, and they're not happy about it. And see, what happens is there comes a point when all the evidence comes to the surface and nobody can hide any longer. And they're not the only court that's under severe scrutiny right now, as you know. So there is, and I always say this, there's always somebody higher. And when the people speak and when the people come together, we are the majority. We the people, a sovereign nation. And this is why it is imperative, and I probably say it every single time I do an interview, that we continue to band together and do what we're doing, because we are gaining ground. We're going to have some success stories that we're going to show soon. Because just from what we're doing now in this short month of doing this, I mean, look at what has happened in just this short month alone, what has happened. And we haven't even, I was joking around, but I'm kind of serious. All I did so far was set the table. I haven't even brought the appetizer out yet. And if something happens to me, we got a full course meal coming out after that. So the more they try to do, it's actually foolish. I was speaking to a few other advocates. If they continue to do this, it's really stupid on their part, beyond stupid on their part. Beyond, because remember something, and I know you've heard this before, the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Yeah.
And that's where it is right now. That's where it is. So we have a lot of people saying different things. Lori Wags, I'm probably saying your name wrong, and I should know your name by now, Lori. It says CPS must be taken down. If CPS goes down, the rest goes down, and I couldn't agree more. Joyce said CPS does not investigate, they witch hunt. They look for and create allegations, and it's very true. And Joyce said Humpty Dumpty.
You know, there are some decent CPS, I imagine, because I think there's some trying to change things.
Right.
I met one CPS investigator that seemed pretty decent, and my grandson connected with the man pretty well. But when they found out that my grandson had connected with this guy, they pulled him away from the case.
Right. No, that's. I mean, and I've met here and there. Matter of fact, I know some higher ups in CPS and worked extensively with them to. I'm not going to say too much more, but yes, there are, and actually even attorneys in CPS. But but we know that the majority of this demon, and that's why I'm saying that's part of why I'm saying, without saying too much, that there's a lot of people. There's always somebody bigger. There's always somebody bigger. And these people are fools for what they're doing. Okay. They're foolish for what they're doing. When your reputation is completely ruined, I've seen people in very high positions with so much money, they think they have more money than God, they think. And I've watched them literally end up in a shoebox. Okay. They can't even afford to tie their shoes anymore. So we'll just watch and see, because there's just so much that people continue to, first of all, allow before the masses say, we're done. Now we're done. Okay. But there's also other people that, like I've said before, you got attorneys that actually went to school because they're actually people of integrity, and they're being made jackasses out of because of all these other lunatics, and they don't want that on their record, and they don't want to raise their children under such a car salesman mentality with these other types of attorneys. And the same thing goes for reputable judges. They don't want to tarnish the whole judicial system's name, because when the people lose respect for our judicial system on a whole, you have no more system of what am I trying to say? You no longer have that where the people feel safe in their own country. You have no longer have that judicial respect and boundary. You don't have that. So, there are people in positions of power that don't agree with what's happening and won't tolerate it and see it.
Something your viewers need to know. I received a letter from Albany Supreme Court, and in this letter, they told me that family court is out of their jurisdiction.
Liars. Lying.
I have it in writing.
I know that, but I know that they're lying.
Yeah.
Carmel Foster, I just want to say something real quick. Send me a little chat right here while we're doing this live feed, if you'd be interested in coming on right after Cliff. Because I'm ready to rock and roll tonight. I'm up.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I want justice, and I will spend my last breath getting justice for my grandson and my daughter. Sullivan County Family Court already killed me, so I have nothing to lose.
Right. You can't kill a dead man, right?
Can't kill a dead man. So, and I'm not going to let my grandson suffer any longer. It's too much. I see what they're doing. This is supposed to be the best times of his life.
Yeah.
And he should not be worried about if he's going to see his mother again.
Mm-hmm. And Lori said, God bless you. And we all, and that's what I want to say too, that you're always in our prayers, and everybody here, keep him in prayer. Keep this family in your prayers as well as we pray for each other. We all pray for each other. We do a Thursday night prayer group here, praying for these children, praying for the exposing of the judges and that they're held accountable for their crimes, because they're crimes. They are crimes. I want to make that clear in case you haven't heard it the first time. And also we're praying for the return and the safe return of all these children. So Melanie and Joyce and Lori are all saying, they're praying. Cliff, thank you so much. We do want you to take good care of yourself irregardless, because we need you here to continue to fight this with us, and you will see your reward here, because we are fighting together now. There's a mass army, Cliff. I've learned that. I thought it was just Ulster. And then I said, oh, wow, Sullivan. And then I says, oh, wow, West Virginia. Oh, wow, Indiana. Oh, my God, California, Connecticut, Long Island. Oh, my. And then I realized we're not,
Like I said before, I went to Financial 3 years ago, and what I found, I wish I never knew. There's too many children. There's too many parents.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to stop. But I'm afraid that one day they're going to do this to the wrong person, and there's going to be a standoff. People are going to get hurt. And maybe that's what'll change things. But, I love everybody. And I just want this little guy right here to grow up and be happy.
Me too. I want him to.
That's all I want.
Yeah, he deserves it.
He shouldn't have to be afraid of his father. He shouldn't have to be afraid of his grandmother. He shouldn't have to be afraid of any of his other family members. He knows that when he comes to this house, he gets nothing but love. Yeah. And that's why he wants to be here. And that's all he needs.
Yeah. Melanie said, I love you too. And that's one thing that we all have. We have one thing that they don't have. It's a foreign language to them, and that's love. And love never fails.
Yeah. That's one thing they cannot take away, is the love that this little boy has for his mother. And I'll tell you something, being called Pop is the best title I've ever had in my whole life.
Yeah.
It's nothing compared to being a parent, a father. When you're a father, you're out there working and you're busting your ass. Mm-hmm. But when you're a grandfather, you get the time to sit back. And I played Tonka trucks, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Okay? I go to school with my grandson. We bring guitars, and we jam out in front of the whole class, and we have a good time. And that's what it's about. And I'm not going to let Sullivan County Family Court take anything away from my family ever again.
Well, we're not going to either, and we have federal attorneys now ready to standing by to get all the different counties and groups and to go after the pattern of abuses and hit them hard. So we've collected names, and we're continuing to collect names, patterns of abuse, and that's what we're working on. This is some stuff we're working on that I can say behind the scenes, so to speak, even though it's made public already. And we have a lot that we're doing, and we also, I've had so many attorneys actually contact me now. I've had senators contact me, governors contact me. I've had assembly people contact me now through this show. Legislators contact me. There's a lot of good people out there that think this is psychopathic. And like I said, their reputations are on the line, their futures too, their children's future. So this has crossed the lines now so far that, there's a saying, the devil always overplays his hand. Right? And that's exactly where we are right now. The devil has overplayed his hand, and now the system will implode in on itself.
I'm pretty fond of Proverbs 17:15 at the moment.
Tell us.
Because there's no way any attorney will ever see the kingdom of heaven.
Oh, no. None of these, not these ones anyway. I don't mean the good ones, but yes, you're 100%
Take comfort in that. And no parent should ever lose their child just for going to the system for help.
Oh, never. I mean, it's insane. It's absolutely absurd. And it's in violation of all of our laws. All of our laws. So, well, Cliff, thank you so much. And everybody, again, you can go to the page, Sullivan County Support Group for Moms, right? Did I say it right? I showed it.
Yeah,
I showed it before. And especially all the Sullivan County people, we are looking for your stories. And I can actually do an anonymous with everybody if you want. I was hoping to kind of do, and it's not just for Sullivan County, but a group of Sullivan victims. Like right now we are gearing toward Minnesota. Specific groups of particular issues that are happening as we expose them, and we are going to continue to expose them into the light. And we have a lot of people that are exposing them into the light. So the more harm they do, the more exposure they get. It's pretty simple. That's how we.
I want to say one thing before we close. Yep. This support group is not just for something online. We want to meet at Dunkin' Donuts in Liberty once a month. We can discuss how our children are doing, how we're coping with the bullshit that we deal with in court.
Mm-hmm.
We can discuss cases in comfort, knowing that there's nobody going to go around talking about our cases behind our backs. So go ahead and share my link. It's connected to my link.
Yes.
And go ahead and share that. And if anybody in Sullivan County wants help, feel free to contact me. We'll sit in on a court case and offer whatever advice we can. But the main thing is that we're there for the children and the mothers, and to discuss and help cope.
Yes.
With all the crap that's going on, and live.
And it's important that all the advocates do that, like court watch and take your clipboard and write down things, and then you can always verify it with other attorneys that are worth their salt that we know. You can always come back to us, and we have some that come on our core groups, and they've had enough of this crap too. I'm going to end this with this. Lori actually sent the scripture that you just said about Cliff. Proverbs 17:15. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, making sure. This is one of my favorite too. Acquitting the guilty and condemning the innocent. The Lord detests them both. And, God is the ultimate judge. He's the judge of all judges. And that's why there's a mockery in judgeships, because that's the devil that makes these types of judges. They're unjust or evil. But God still has the final say. So we're going to close it with that.
I found that link. I was at a hotel room. I opened up a Gideon's Bible, and I said, show me something. And that is what I opened up to.
Wow.
Proverbs 17:15.
I love that.
And I found comfort in that, knowing that these people will never see the kingdom of heaven.
No, they won't. No, because they haven't. I mean, they don't even come close to repenting, let alone even trying or acknowledging that they're doing anything wrong.
Giving up is not an option, people, when you have someone calling you mommy or daddy. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever give up.
And can you say something also to the viewing audience, mothers and fathers, about the march, how you feel, what do you want to tell them about getting their butts down there?
I'll tell you what, I want to march, and I want to jump that damn fence and shake my fist to that White House and tell them to fix it now.
Mm-hmm.
I think if enough parents jump that fence and with their signs and just stand there and demand attention, they will get it. Mm-hmm. It's going to be something extreme.
Mm-hmm.
But something extreme needs to be done, because this is extreme.
This is extreme. It's extreme child abuse. It's extreme child abuse, and it's not just national, it's global.
So I'm ready to jump that fence. So
all right. Well, thank you, and thank you again, Cliff, and thank you for speaking for your family. We appreciate it. God bless you.
God bless. Bye.